like that. Welcome
like that.
back, everybody. Episode 70 of Moneyline Madness. We had our first college football weekend, and I think it's probably the most exciting week of the year for us. We got
Hell yeah.
NFL coming up this week, Thursday and Sunday. So there's a lot to be excited about. How we doing, Matt?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling real good, especially, good college football week. But more importantly to me, at least, the NFL's back.
Oh, hell yeah.
Thursday really is just the meat and potatoes of the year. You just love to see it. And what better game, honestly, than a team like the Bills going up against the Super Bowl champs. So, I feel like you couldn't ask for much more in a kickoff game, a Thursday night. Like, let's do it. Let's
Some
get
of
right.
us are going to be stressing that night. I've got my quarterback and my wide receiver. My top two picks are in that game. And
That is a fact.
I don't know how you do it, but with fantasy, do you spread out your lineup based on what time the games are?
No,
I'm a freak.
I
I'm
don't.
a freak, and I do that because I don't want to be sitting there at 1 o'clock on Sunday and have nobody playing. I will be so mad. So I have at least 4 people at a time just so I can watch Red Zone into it.
Interesting. Very interesting.
That's how I do it.
I actually didn't realize how many fantasy leagues I had said yes to being in. And I think my ESPN app has 6 different teams right now that I'm
That's not going to be. You're going to have to do
and I have one. I have one
through
through like Sleeper that I forgot about until last night. All of a sudden, I got a notification that somebody made a roster move, and I'm like, oh my god, I have a league on the Sleeper app too.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're all over the place, but it's safe to say we're excited nonetheless for football
so
season.
excited.
Very exciting, and we may as well talk because I think there's some bets to be had in this Thursday night game. What about you?
I think this game's probably going to be the game of the week, and unfortunately, it's on Thursday.
Yeah.
If you look at the rest of the schedule, there's really not much. I mean, I think the Cowboys play the Buccaneers. Other than that, you're looking at 2 of the best receivers in the league and 2 of the better quarterbacks in the league, and possibly a Super Bowl. Possibly. I know.
Matchup. Yeah, we don't want to get to like the Bills.
That's ever happened before? The first game and the last game of the season were the exact same. I highly doubt that that's ever happened before. Let's get somebody in on that.
Countdown looks good. Thank you, Iman. Good morning to you as well.
Everybody. The LSU game, I'm sure we'll talk about.
What's going on? Heartbroke watching the LSU game. Yeah, that's rough. NFL Hype Week. We got the Most Sports Facebook in the chat. And Double R says he has Coops and Diggs playing Thursday.
Damn. You're hoping for offense.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that being like, you remember wasn't it Rams
Chiefs? Yeah.
That was
52
like
55-52, I think.
That was insane. That was just a ridiculous game.
I don't think it'll get that high, but
not in the first game of the season, but it's going to be something crazy.
I don't think it'll be 6-3 either, though. I think it'll be a good scoring game.
Most definitely. I anticipate as well, both quarterbacks looking pretty sharp in game 1. I don't know if that's just me, but I feel like if anything, the quarterbacks are bound to look a little sharper, and the defensive backs and defense is kind of a step slower, being that they haven't seen the pace and tempo yet.
Yeah, a lot of these guys on the defensive side probably didn't play much during the preseason. Even if they did, I don't think the pace is anywhere near the same. So, yeah, I think it'll be a little rusty for the defense. I don't think offenses really get rusty into the season if they're veterans. Like, they're talented veterans at this point. Like a young team like the Bengals, maybe that's a team to watch to get rusty, but the Rams and Bills do not have anything.
I'm saying that with Iman as he comes in the chat. That's crazy. That's crazy.
They might have a little bit of a rough first or second quarter.
A lot of people are kind of expecting a sophomore slump somewhat out of the Bengals. Now, I don't know if I'm one of those people, but
no, I don't believe
I don't think that they're going to have a bad season at all. If anything, they got better, in my opinion, especially with the boost to their offensive line now. But you don't know, and the NFL is just so unpredictable.
I don't love that they lost CJ Uzomah. I don't know.
Yeah, Uzomah. But didn't they gained Hayden Hurst or whatever Hurst? Right?
That is not an upgrade.
You don't think that's an upgrade? I don't know.
No.
I mean, I think he's good. I think he's decent. You think he could catch?
Yeah, he's
passes,
decent. He is a good catcher. He's not going to block much for you, but.
Yeah. I mean, it says
we were waiting
Bengals
for it,
being rusty now.
Maybe a little bit. Like a young team like that, that's a team I could see being rusty.
It's just
other
like
than
the
that,
thing
I think
is,
everybody veterans are going to be ready to go.
The thing for me is like I would not bet against the Bengals because literally Joe Burrow is just such a winner in every aspect of everything he does since his LSU days, since his high school days even. Like even when they thought, coming off of an ACL tear, like that was an awful injury, and he just comes back and leads a Super Bowl run. Like, I don't know. It's just hard to bet against the guy when it's just time and time
He's
again. Not only
he's
does he prove that wrong, but then he goes as far as doing the complete, like, opposite and going even farther. So I could never bet against Joe
Mhm.
Burrow, honestly. And he does say we have Hayden Hurst, who is a lateral move, if
I
not
don't
an
know.
upgrade.
I guess it's a lateral move.
He's
I guess they're
he's
about
really
equal.
good blocking
No, he's
tight end.
yeah,
Like,
he's a good player.
that's gonna help. But
I know
and
he was.
honestly, with how many wide receiver weapons you have,
Oh
do you
yeah,
need a
that's
tight end who could catch the ball like
No.
desperately? Probably not.
Pretty
I
much
mean, as
not.
long as he could get 3-4 targets a game, sure.
Yeah.
It's not like you're asking
Yeah.
him to do anything fantasy wise. So I don't mind it at all.
Yeah. I got the over under for the game on Thursday is 52.5.
Hmm.
I don't think anybody will take that under. I don't think
Yeah,
a single soul.
I think that's an easy smash.
You're looking at what a 28-24 game would be an under. I think somebody's hitting 30, right? That's
Got to.
yeah.
Honestly, like, what's really intriguing me is the fact that the Rams are plus 116 and they're at home.
Well, you're using FanDuel, right?
Yeah.
I'm on Barstool. It's plus
So
112.
what's their plus
It's a little
112? But
bit
either way,
different.
plus money for Super Bowl champs week 1.
Yeah,
Double R says the more blocking, the better for Joey B.
they're the
I agree.
underdogs. Like, I don't understand why they're the underdogs because the Bills are minus 2.5. I don't quite understand.
What do
that.
you think about Cam Akers? I
Oh,
love Cam Akers this season.
I
I
think-
actually drafted him last night with a 3rd-round fantasy pick. I fleeced a
I
fantasy draft
think
last
with
night.
him, it's gonna be a couple weeks before he's 1,000% because he didn't play much in the preseason. So I think it'll be a few weeks. But when he is
Let's
like
not forget
on,
though, he was back for the Super Bowl and like some.
yeah, but he didn't play much. He was not 100%.
He got snaps. He was part of the offense enough for me to be convinced. Like, Sean McVay loves him.
Oh,
And
they do love
I
him.
really like Cam Akers in terms of like fantasy value and fantasy production, if that's what you mean. I think that Darrell Henderson isn't even close to the type of running back that Cam Akers is. And he offers that pass catching ability out of the backfield that Darrell Henderson really doesn't.
Yeah.
So I like Cam Akers. I ended up, like I said, I drafted him 3rd round last night. I took Eckler, DeAndre Swift, and then came back and grabbed Cam Akers. And
You're gonna have a lot
ecstatic.
of yards.
I was ecstatic, dude, because Cam Akers, honestly, he's a breakout candidate in my opinion
He
for a
is.
top
I do
5 running
agree
back,
with that.
season fantasy wise.
Yeah, I just think it'll be a few weeks before they get him 1,000% in, just because it's a little rusty. But other than, because they do have Darrell Henderson that can
Bengals
kind of.
schedule last year,
take
forgetting
him,
that
but-
we went on a run. Yeah, no, I agree with you for sure.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that run for last year? I mean, a lot of people can say that it's a Cinderella run, sure, because it's the first time that they had gotten, a playoff run like that out of anybody. Let alone the Bengals franchise. But it's just not. Like I said, Joe Burrow is a winner no matter where he goes or what he does. Any team that he plays against, competition-wise, he finds a way to win, even when he's outmatched like that and is an underdog. Besides obviously the Super Bowl, which is a completely even playing field.
Which I think
I'm
everybody during the game kind of felt like they could have won the game. So I don't think
seriously, exactly. And I just think that's I don't agree with that. And Double R says the Bills are heavy favorites this year. People's Super Bowl pick. There's actually the most money coming in on the Bills to win the Super Bowl right now, which is kind of crazy. Would you start the Bills defense against the Rams? Probably not. Definitely not. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it
almost
twice,
definitely not.
it's just like there are just so many more defensive options out there, right? Like, why not go with whoever's playing Cleveland? Why not go with whoever's playing Houston?
That's a big one
teams
right
like
now.
that. I don't draft a defense in fantasy, until the dead last pick, because I switch it every week based on the matchup. I will literally, until Deshaun Watson's back, you will literally catch me picking up any defense that plays Cleveland up until then. Like,
That's what a lot of
way to
people
go.
are doing. A lot of people. I took the Colts defense, but I can't guarantee I'm going to keep them. Like, I took them because I believe they play Houston week 1. So you take them against a bad team, and then you reevaluate the next week. If they go and they play Tennessee, I'm not going to start them against Tennessee because I think Tennessee can score on them. So I'm going to go find somebody else. That's how defenses should work. Hopefully. And I agree with you with the Cleveland thing because I don't think I'm going to pick them once this year.
No,
Until Deshaun's back. But even when Deshaun's back, what's to say they're not like 2-9? Like,
and even that, seriously. And I could say, he said, my main said, would you start the Rams D against the Bills though? Either way. Like, I just don't want to go up against a quarterback not like Josh Allen or Matt Stafford. Like I'm looking right now, and me and Andy, our league has 10 people, right? 10 a 10-man league
12.
and 12. Okay,
Yeah.
so even then, the 12 where you're going to see a little more saturated of a waiver wire where there's not going to be as many defenses that you want. But I'm looking right now, the Broncos defense, they're playing Seattle week 1. That's a great matchup in my opinion for a defense. You look at let's see, who else do we have here?
I'm not quite sure why the Browns are at the top. The Browns defense isn't that good, and they're playing a Carolina team that's going
so the
to
Browns
have a lot
defense
of...
is projected 7.5 in the way that ours is scored against Carolina. And honestly, Carolina might be another team. Give Baker Mayfield a couple weeks. If he's shitting the bed, any team that plays Carolina, I'm hopping on as well.
I think against Cleveland, though, I think Baker's going to have the game of his life.
He should.
He does
really
this
should.
he did it against Texas Tech when he played against Texas Tech because they let him go. And well, he didn't let him go, but they wouldn't put him on scholarship, so he got mad. And when he played him, he made them beg for them to stop. I mean, that's the type of guy Baker is. So I don't think Baker's going to be that good this year, but I think he's going to be good on Sunday.
Ravens are playing the Jets. Expect big points out of them.
Yeah, this one's in New Jersey, right?
Am I the only one that doesn't mind the Jets this season?
No, I don't mind them. But
Zach
I don't think
Wilson
they're
playing
all this weekend?
Is that like? Is
it
he
sounds
100%?
like it.
It's okay.
But I have a question for
Dude,
you.
I don't mind the Jets. That offensive line is really good. Like that offensive line is enough for me to be like speculative that maybe Zach Wilson could have enough time to make something
But
happen.
here's the thing. He's not running this week. It's not going to be capable of running. I even said this. I love Zach Wilson, but to be fair, even if he plays, does anybody think the Jets are going to win?
Against a team like Baltimore, probably not. But then
so what's the point of
the Jets
risking
have
him?
weapons.
No, they do. But what's the point of risking him in week 1 when you're still in it? But what's the point of risking his season and maybe something worsening that lingers throughout his career to play him against a team you're not beating if he plays anyway? I mean, you're not beating him with Joe Flacco, but you're sure as shit not beating him with anybody right now. So
yeah. I mean,
and I kind of just want to see
true.
Joe Flacco face the Ravens, to be honest with you. I really just want to see Lamar against Joe Flacco.
Is the weirdest. That's the weirdest agenda I've ever seen you try.
My brother's a Ravens fan. That's the agenda. I really want to see Joe Flacco just tear his team apart, but it's not gonna happen.
Gotcha. And I mean, says I would love it if the Jets won. Personally, I do too.
I think a lot of people would.
I have Breece Hall on a couple teams, and I have Elijah Moore on a couple teams. So I think that those guys are gonna have really good years in terms of fantasy production. So
I guess
that's really what I'm looking for.
You're hoping Zach Wilson plays.
I'm hoping
Joe Flacco's getting it.
I'm hoping for something.
Elijah Moore, very much.
Elijah Moore, not Elijah Mitchell. But I'm looking right now, and really defenses for me is just all about the matchup. I mean, you look like the Saints defense is number 1 ranked for this week. Why is that? Because they're playing Atlanta.
Hell yeah.
Damn right. The 49ers going up against Justin Fields in Chicago. They're going to rip that offense apart. That's the way it is. And, do they have a better defense than some of the other teams that are lower on this list? Absolutely not. But when it comes to matchup, that's what I like to take advantage of.
The Raiders defense is really getting roughed up this week. Clearly, they're last ranked, and
I mean, at
2.7 against the Chargers.
They're playing, in my opinion, the best offensive team in the league. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think the Chargers are going to be the best offensive team.
I think it's
NFL
1A and 1B with the Chargers and Bills. I think young quarterback and star receivers. It doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, and the Rams are right there though. Like I can't just not have the.
No, they're there.
Champs. They're probably 1C, right?
They're in a conference filled with question marks, right?
Yeah.
I don't question mark Tom Brady that much yet. I just question mark everything around him because they had they were preparing for not a rebuild but a retool, right? So they were already preparing for that, and then he comes back, and the team is nowhere near as good as they were.
Yeah.
They have weapons that are older. And then,
I'm just thinking like this could be the year for Tom, where it all starts.
Yeah, this is probably the year
going down a little bit.
And at the same time, who else is in the NFC that's contending? The Packers. We have questions pretty much everywhere. We don't have questions anywhere except the big one, which who's going to catch the ball. So that's the question.
No, literally at the top, it's really just the Rams.
It's the Rams
the Bucks,
and
the Giants. Teams
Giants.
like that.
Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, sorry.
The hell are you talking about? No, I mean the Packers are still up there. The Vikings are kind of up there right now
Yeah,
because of all the
but
question
like
marks.
you said, there's a gap.
But there's a gap
big
between
gap.
the Rams and everybody else. There's really not a very big gap between the Bills, Chargers. I'm a little
For sure.
hesitant to say the Chiefs until they prove it, but
Mhm.
I think at some point we will be saying the Chiefs. So
Yeah, I'm a little
AFC
hesitant.
football is going to be fun.
I have some guys that I want to talk about, but at the same time, I'm like, I have a draft later tonight, and I'm like 90% sure me and Main are in the same league of BFFL.
Oh,
And I'm like,
no.
I don't want to let him in on my, my knowledge right now.
Yeah, you can't. You
But-
can't. We can't talk about it. Nope.
But I will continue to talk about these bets, and I'll just save that for the later in the week, because I do have some speculations about some of these teams and some guys that I think are going to be taking lesser roles to some other guys who are going to be taking more roles, because they're like, especially with the Bucks, with the Bucks. You see Tom Brady is, a GOAT. So he's just like Aaron Rodgers. He's going to take guys that probably aren't as touted, aren't as, talented as some of these other guys, and he's going to turn them into weapons. So I think we're going to see a little bit of that come this year. Hesitant to say the Chiefs, but you throw the Chargers up there.
So the Chargers are
Absolutely,
young
man.
quarterback superstar with great receivers. Chiefs are a young quarterback superstar with no number
Mids.
one. Travis Kelce can't be a number one receiver. He's a tight end. That does not
Yeah.
work. So they have who's their
take-
best receiver this year? Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I love Marquez Valdez-Scantling. He's a deep threat, and if he's not deep, he's not doing anything. So it doesn't really make sense.
I do like
That
they
offense is
have
weird.
I think MVS is a good complement to McCole Hardman. I think, being that McCole does the things that MVS
but-
can't do, but still, I just
Not having a
I'm
number
not
one
that high on the
really
Chiefs
hurts,
for
yeah.
sure. It does, because I'm high on the Chargers, but not on the Chiefs, because if you throw Mike Williams on the Chiefs,
Mhm.
instantly he's a top wide receiver in the league.
Yeah, he's like their number.
So it gets scary
2
real quick.
In LA. He's their number 2, and I think they have a number 3 who's pretty solid too. And Keenan Allen is a great receiver.
He said Keenan Allen.
He is not
really
just
good.
really
Mike Williams
good, he's
is
a
not
great
receiver.
receiver.
Mike
He is
Williams
consistently great.
Keenan
my
Allen is
opinion.
great. Keenan Allen is great when he's on the field and not injured. We got to remember, this guy had 2 torn ACLs, and he's still as good as he is. So that's
Put him
that's
stat
something.
for stat up there with Devontae Adams. I think he's there every year. So
wow. Dang,
I think-
for you to say that, that's kind of crazy.
And
I wasn't going
love
to go
the
that far,
Devontae.
but because
no, but
I think
but,
Keenan is like a second-tier wide receiver, but he's still
no.
really good.
That's
in
what
my
I'm saying.
opinion.
Devontae is clearly the better player, but put up their stats. They're very similar every year, and
You
That's
wanna
always
make a
talked
little-
about,
We
but-
can make a little tier list. So real quick while we're here. So let's talk about this. Tier 1
I love tier
receivers.
lists.
Tier 1, we're going obviously Devontae, Diggs, Cooper Kupp, Jamar, Justin Jefferson. Anybody I'm missing?
I don't think there's anybody else. I mean, no, Tyreek Hill lost that, so
Yeah.
he's not up there. I don't think there's anything. I don't think
Oh,
we're
he
missing
said.
anything.
Andy said the Chargers have great receivers.
Well,
I
they
think-
have a great receiver and a really good receiver in my.
Yeah, I would say that they have a good receiving core. I wouldn't say they have a great receiving core.
Well,
I would
I
say the
mean,
Chiefs
who
is
has
Fitz.
a great receiving core? There's not many teams that have great receiving cores.
No,
The
I mean,
Bills, right? They have a pretty good one.
I would probably say the Bengals have a
The
great
Rams
receiving
do.
core,
Rams have Allen Robinson. And,
because T. Higgins is a number 1 on any other team too.
yeah, well, the Bengals probably have the best in the league. I think we've been over that. They have
Other than
Boyd as
that,
their number
yeah,
3.
Yeah. Other than that, I really
Yeah, I don't think there's that many great receiving
mean,
cores in
great.
football. You have to have
Are the
2.
Bucks great? Are the Bucks wide
No,
receiver core great?
No, because Mike
When,
Evans
when
had
they
a
had
really bad
AB,
year
were they
last year.
great?
Yeah, because AB was a great player. He was just a dumbass.
Yeah. The Rams, I was thinking Rams, but I'm just
No,
not
I think the
sure
Rams. I think because Allen Robinson's
after-
a really good.
Allen
receiver.
Robinson's really good, and I think
And
he
Cooper Kupp's
has
obviously
great
probably the best,
potential, and
too.
obviously Coop is the best. But after that, the fall off is just like to Van Jefferson is just. a
The
little
Broncos
much
have
for
a
me.
pretty decent one, but they're not great.
The
I'm
Broncos
reading
are
through-
okay. I'm
Philly
not
has
high
a-
on Jerry Jeudy this year. So.
Philly is a pretty big one.
Mm.
They're pretty.
Philly's got a decent one too.
They got Brown
Vegas
and
sneaky
Smith.
has a borderline great one too.
They do. Well,
Man.
obviously they got Devontae and Hunter Renfrow.
Imagine if they still had Henry Ruggs on that squad.
They
that
wouldn't
would've
have.
been-
I don't. I
oh,
don't know if
man.
they'd have Devontae if they had Henry Ruggs. To be honest with you.
But the
I don't know if they make that
versatility
deal.
on that squad would have been ridiculous if you add Henry
Also,
Ruggs
don't
to
count out
Devontae
the
and
Niners
Renfrow.
because they do have Deebo Samuel.
They do.
I don't know if I
And
put him on
Ayuk,
tier 1.
honestly, Brandon Ayuk was supposed to be the breakout star over Debo.
Yeah,
Like,
he
I don't know
didn't do it, but
like
I think
two
he
fantasy
could.
seasons ago, everyone was like Brandon Ayuk, like literally.
Oh, and Seattle's
all
also
of
got
my
a pretty good receiving core too. Too bad their quarterback stinks. Because they have
yeah,
Tyler Lockett as a complement to DK. It's pretty decent receivers.
yeah, DK's fantasy value, man. You
There
want to talk
is
about
there
that
is
because
none.
it's
There
gone
is none.
from a
It's
guy that was like
poor
literally
guy.
a wide receiver 1 for fantasy the
He was
past 2
hoping to be
years.
traded to Green Bay. I think. I think everybody was kind of hoping he
I mean,
went
but then
there.
again,
But
he took that. Like, why take that contract?
well, you take the money when it's offered to you. To be honest with
The
you,
Nesquik
because you
deal, I
don't
mean,
know.
yeah, sure, I guess. It's just like he doesn't want to win. He doesn't want to win.
I don't know if he doesn't want to win. It's still easy to trade receivers. I
doesn't
still
wanna
like
win?
Devontae got traded and then got like 40 million a year or whatever the hell he got. So it's still
I don't
easy
know.
to get traded as a receiver.
Accepting Drew Lock and Geno Smith as your quarterbacks is a tough pill to
You
swallow.
can't think
in
of
my
it that way. He's thinking of it. I'm accepting $70 million. That's what he's accepting.
opinion. I mean,
Yeah, he'll lose for a few years, but he's still. I think he'll still
he's still making money. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, hey, you can't be mad at that. But
And unfortunately, he has to live in Seattle. So
I don't know if this is crazy, but the Bills wide receiver core, I think Gabe Davis has a really good season.
and Isaiah McKenzie's a little sneaky receiver.
I think Josh Allen, this is going to be a season where we see Josh Allen make receivers great.
I hope so. I definitely think he does. Him and Diggs didn't really connect on many touchdowns early last year, but I think they're going to do that a lot this year.
I think Beasley was good, but I don't think Beasley is more talented than Gabe Davis.
No, he's not. That's why they let him go.
I think now
and
we're
other
gonna
reasons,
see,
but
yeah, I think now we're going to see Josh Allen make these guys even better and kind of elevate the floor
didn't they
of the Bills
draft a receiver as well? I believe they drafted something.
They did. They drafted. Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. He's solid. He's been doing well in training camp, but yeah, other than that, I mean.
Oh, they also got Jamison Crowder, who's a pretty solid receiver too.
Yeah, I mean he's old. You know, we
Yeah.
could see him snag a few touchdowns just being that, you know, he's a veteran
Khalil
guy and he'll be on the
Shakir's
field.
been pretty good, I heard, in camp, I guess. So
Okay.
that's a pretty good one. They have a pretty good receiver.
I'm looking right now.
Good.
Touchdown score props for this game. Man, Cam Akers to plus 110 is kind of just screaming at me.
Yeah. A goal line. I mean, when they get to the goal line, are you putting him in or are you putting Henderson in? Who's stronger? That's how I look at running backs, right? Because I never predict a 20-yard run. Like I say, if they get to the goal line, is this guy pounding it in?
Yeah, Darrell Henderson sits at plus 240.
I don't know. That's
know.
interesting.
That is tough.
It's interesting because it's the same way with other teams, right? Like you want to bet, when you're I'll use my team for example. Like when you bet the Packers, you want to bet Aaron Jones? No, you want to bet AJ Dillon because he's going to be their goal line guy, right? You can bet that the team's going to get to the goal line at least once or twice, and they're just going to pound it in. But I don't know.
I cashed last season. My most memorable parlay cash of last season was so it was a nasty. Obviously I was 21, so I was freshly on the parlay scene. I was very excited to cash this parlay it was a Green Bay win and Randall Cobb to score.
Oh,
in addition to a Julius Randle double and the Knicks to win that night. And it hit. It was plus 5.
Was that the game? I don't remember the
6-0.
game. Randall Cobb only had 3 touchdowns last year, so that had to be. And
two
of them were in the same game. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the game that he had 2. I literally was Randall Cobb, all your receivers are out. I'm Randall Cobb scoring a touchdown tonight. It was so given.
I think
it was such
Pittsburgh.
a given. I think so too. He put up 2 on their dome.
Yeah.
But hey, for Thursday night, I like Cam Akers at plus 110.
What do they have? What do they have Stephon Diggs at?
Diggs is at
5,000
plus 130.
Wow. Yeah, I had to hit that, right? That's one that in their first drive, their opening drive, he could just get wide open for a 70-yard touchdown, just wake everybody up. That's
yeah, even with Jalen Ramsey
early in the season. Yeah, don't even talk to me about Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah,
against star receivers, go look at his track record.
Dang, we're getting Jalen Ramsey called out on the MLM podcast.
Do the Rams and Raiders play this year? Because Devontae Adams is legitimately
his father,
the father of Jalen Ramsey in his career.
Wow.
Well, remember that playoff game? I certainly do. He actually made him fall, I think.
That
in
was
that play. So yeah,
How old? Like what year Jalen Ramsey was this though? Year 2, 3?
this was no. This was 2020,
Really?
the playoff game against the Rams.
Jeez, yeah.
Couldn't read a defense. And,
Yeah, that was right after the big deal and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Hey,
I'm also
no,
liking. I
that's
mean, there's
him
a couple
against
guys I
Saints.
like for touchdown props. I'm trying to figure out which one I really want to dial in.
I got an
on. I really
underrated
like
one.
Cam Akers. I really like Dawson Knox. Honestly,
I was actually gonna go on the flip side. What do they have Tyler Higbee at?
Tyler Higbee sits at plus 195. Dawson Knox sits
Oh.
at plus 220.
Oh, I thought Knox would be a little bit ahead of him. I think Knox could get one early. I think Higbee could get one early. See, the tight ends are always sneaky, right? Because like everybody's looking at the receivers. Nobody's worrying about those tight ends like that. And Dawson Knox fed
He's
on
a
that last
dog.
year.
Dawson
He had
Knox
like
is a
8
dog.
touchdowns last year, I think, or something like that. Just being sneaky and just getting open. Like,
Yep.
because nobody was watching him.
Yep.
So that's a guy to watch.
Now let me also ask you, Zach Moss at plus 300.
No. I have
No.
a feeling. I
Goal
think
line
early,
score for Buffalo. Goal line touches. They're going
is
with
he
Zach
the guy?
Moss.
Is he their? Do you think he's their guy though?
When they're trying to
Get
pound it in
some-
the end zone.
I guess. I think early you're gonna find out that that was just a miss.
I'm gonna stay away from the Bills running back core probably.
Yeah,
betting wise, but
eventually toward the season we're gonna realize that Zach Moss wasn't just a guy we're waiting on to break out. I think that was just a miss, and I think they realized that when they drafted James Cook. So, and I think Cook is gonna be a hit. They're gonna hit on him because I love
All
James
right.
Cook. So
now, I'm looking at this right now, and I'm actually in awe of these this line. I know we talked about Cam Akers, not to make this the Cam Akers episode, but Cam Akers over 13.5 receiving yards.
no, that's a gimme. You telling me you
lock.
don't think he could just get a 14-yard catch early in the game? Yes.
That's
That
a
feels like
lock.
a lock. That feels like
like
yes.
the closest thing to a lock. I mean, he's catching passes. They love to do that little bubble screen out the backfield where they just give him the ball in space, and I do that twice for 7 yards apiece. That's it.
That's an easy one.
I really like that. So that comes in at minus 114. So if you take that and for Cam Akers anytime touchdown to score, oh man, we're looking at a plus 247 bet.
I like that. I don't know. Something about this game just screams to me that there's going to be one guy that just sets everybody apart, like on the offensive side for either LA or Buffalo. Just early in the season puts their name in the hat, right? Like,
If there's one guy that
smaller guys.
I was thinking Allen Robinson, kind of like an
that's a
type of thing.
yeah.
Because Allen Robinson, if people forget, Allen Robinson, when he had Nick Foles throwing him the rock, he was a dog.
Biggest
Allen
mistake of his
Robinson
life
was
is
really
choosing
nasty.
Chicago.
It really was. If he went to Green Bay, I mean, oh man, I
He
wanted
had the
him on the
opportunity.
Giants over Kenny Galladay too. To be honest,
We'll talk about Kenny Galladay for a few weeks until eventually he
hate him.
gets cut. I know. I
can't stand
Kenny
it.
Galladay owes a
He
lot
had
of money
such
to Matt
talent
Stafford.
too. Like he really does. Like I mean, yeah.
They
You're
don't
right.
talk
He's
about
a
it
Matt
much.
Stafford merchant. Truthfully.
Yeah, they don't talk about it much. When players in football are like the only ones that just give up when they sign with a bad team. Like in baseball, you'll see guys sign with bad teams. Like Bryce Harper signed with a bad team when he signed with Philly. He played amazing. But you see this all the time in football. Somebody signs with a team that's terrible, and they just stop trying. They just take the money and run. And like Galladay did that very quickly. Like he didn't even have one good game last year. Did he have he didn't have a touchdown, right?
He did not catch a touchdown last
That's
season.
like imagine
$20 million he's getting paid. More than Cooper Kupp, more than Justin Jefferson, more than Jamar Chase.
That's insane.
I mean, oh my God. I can't believe I was upset that since he didn't sign Galladay. I mean, but then again, at the time, Kenny Galladay was
like the top
he was
receiver
the top
available.
receiver. Like people were ecstatic. They were like, Danny Dimes has his guy. Like I mean, realistically, like on paper, Kadarius Toney, Sterling Shepard, and Kenny Galladay isn't a bad receiving core. Like
No,
I don't know
it's
if that's
not.
biased, but that's not a bad receiving core at all. If you're talking fully healthy, prime Kenny Galladay, fully healthy, Kadarius Toney, and fully healthy Sterling Shepard.
It's a
That's
pretty good
solid.
Yeah,
It's better
and
than I would say teams, other bottom tier teams, you know, like
well, it's
like
far
the
better
Jets,
than
like the
other.
Jags, like
Yeah.
any other teams like that. But Kenny Golladay he just dropped the ball. And
He
Double
didn't
R
even try
says
to
he doesn't
catch it.
love the game. It's the check. I mean,
Yeah.
that's really what it's
That's
showing
how
out
it goes
to be.
sometimes. That's just.
Apparently, his teammates know it too.
Oh yeah,
Did
they
you see
hate
the
him.
Kadarius Toney's post on Instagram?
Yeah, they hate him. I would hate him too.
I
If
would
I
hate
was
him
a player on that team.
too.
It's
And then,
unfortunate because there was a lot. They did a lot to get him there. They had him flying out to Jersey, doing tours of random shit here, and we don't
Yeah.
have much here. Like,
no, seriously.
they had him
you know,
at
come by
Broadway
me, you come
shows
to
and
the
stuff.
shore, but that's really it.
Yeah.
Another thing, I saw a headline today about Leonard Williams and how they restructured his contract. So they were actually able to convert, I think, 17 million of it into signing bonus money.
Yeah.
And so it's just insane to me. Not only the stupidity, but also the incompetence of David Gettleman in that front office. Like the fact that he got as far as he did for as long as he did as the Giants general manager is just beyond me. Like he signed him
financial situation.
He didn't even think about it. He was like, like there was never a question in his mind of like, what should I convert? Should I make some of this signing bonus money? Should I make some of this incentive money? Like never any of that. He just gave him the bag straight out the salary cap. Didn't give a single flying shit and just paid him.
Yeah, I remember somebody asked him that. And he was like, that's not the way I operate. And that's how everybody else operates now. Everybody turns money into signing bonus because it gets off your salary cap and you have more money to spend on your salary cap to get better players. They didn't do that. And now they're in easily the worst financial situation in the league right now.
Getting slightly
and
better.
That includes
Joe
the
Shane's
Saints.
making it okay.
Yeah, that includes the Saints, who were almost 75 million over the salary cap. And because they did all this signing bonus manipulations and stuff like that, granted they're going to be bad this year, maybe, but they're like 15 million under the cap now. So like, that's
and they still think they could compete, and I still think they could compete.
And the Giants are that much over, can't compete with players they're paying like that. Like, that David Gettleman was the worst GM
God, dude.
possibly
Probably
in New York
history.
sports, and that includes Brody Van Wagenen, who was very, very bad.
Wow.
So
wow.
I don't even think they're comparable, to be honest with you, because
I would also throw him up there with the Isaiah Thomas Knicks days too. He was really bad. I mean, trading for an old Eddie Curry, trading for Stephon Marbury,
Phil Jackson's Knicks,
way past his prime. Like
you could put him with Phil Jackson's Knicks, and
respect Phil Jackson's vision, please, because he actually. I mean, I don't know. We can't get down that rabbit hole. That's a dark rabbit hole to get down. But football wise, Dave Gettleman had possibly the worst run I've seen out of a football GM ever. Like seriously ever. And I remember when he came over from Carolina, Steve Smith literally said, like, he went on NFL Network and he was like, Giants fans, like, I'm sorry. Like, this is like, Dave Gettleman is easily the worst person I've ever known. Like, I hate him, and I advise anybody that like is looking at the Giants to now look elsewhere, because I hate Dave Gettleman. And I remember sitting there as like, a 17-year-old, like, oh, can Gettleman really be that bad? Like, could he
he had just
I knew
brought
he
a team to
didn't
the
pay
Super Bowl.
guys. He hated exactly. Yeah. He had just brought the Panthers to the Super Bowl. He didn't like paying guys. That was his big thing. Josh Norman, obviously he didn't want to give him the check. Who else?
Cam Newton even underpaid for a little while there.
He underpaid Cam Newton. Who was the running back that they had he just kept giving the bag? God.
I don't remember.
There's subpar running back that ended up coming to the Giants. He's that forgettable.
Oh, I remember his name. Something Stort, right?
I mean, I'm thinking also Mike Tolbert and then somebody else too. Like, it was really bad. It could have been Mike Tolbert, but God, it was just really, really ugly. I mean, just the fact that I want to say it was Tolbert, actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
I think it was Jonathan Stewart, right? Was it
Jonathan Stewart?
Yeah.
Yes, both of them.
Yeah.
He was obsessed with this idea of a Tolbert, and like, oh my God.
It came to me as I was typing in Panthers 2010 running backs, and Jonathan Stewart came to my head.
Jonathan Stewart.
There you go. Yeah, that was. He was terrible.
God, he's very lucky he had the defense that he did in Carolina. That's really
He cut
You know,
cut Josh Norman on a random Tuesday because he didn't want to pay him, and then, I mean, granted, he wasn't wrong. Josh Norman's never been the same player, really, but
yeah.
I'll give him credit on that. He didn't want to pay the guy, and he pretty much fell
God,
off.
but still, it's
it's
atrocious.
just, it happens
like,
all
Dave
the time
Gettleman's
with him.
track record is just so bad, so bad. It's inexcusable at this point.
Was
truthfully.
Odell? Was he the one who he let go of Odell, right?
Yeah, he didn't want to pay Odell. Did not want to pay. Well, he said
Well, they did pay
he
Odell.
didn't want to pay Odell.
And then they
Then
said
he
they weren't
said-
going to trade him, and then they traded him.
Yeah, then
right?
he was like, "Fuck it, we'll pay him. We're not going to trade him though. Traded him the next week."
to the Browns.
Thought he was playing chess.
And they did get a good return, right, for him? Jabril Peppers. was the
Jabril
return.
Peppers, first round.
I don't
pick.
think he was bad at making like trades. He was bad with money. He was like embarrassingly bad with money.
Yeah, that's really bad.
That
Like,
happens.
imagine it happens. I don't
It
know.
happens.
Do you walk into McDonald's like going off the dollar menu and just be like, "Fuck it, I'll pay $50 for this"?
That's true.
Like,
That's a
come on.
very
That's
good way to
basically
put
what he
that.
did with Kenny Galladay. Like we asked for a McChicken and they're charging us fucking $29.99 plus tax.
As long
And
as I get my
Kenny's just-
rewards points, I'll take
And then
it.
you get the chicken sandwich and it's raw.
Yeah, and it's immediately like tastes terrible and everything. Yeah, I agree with you.
Typical GM move, say one thing, do another. Yeah. I mean, yeah, but then again, other GMs are not like there are more
Right.
vocal GMs out there that are like competent. You know, you can
Yeah.
say one thing and then do another. If it ends up being the right move, then you look like an absolute
There are a
genius.
lot of good GMs out there. There's not that many bad ones, I would say. I would say Dave Kettleman was probably the worst by a
And even
long
like
shot, like a long
like-
stretch there. But
yeah, it's hard to really be as bad as Gettleman was too. Like it
Yeah,
almost
it's-
takes skill to be that bad of a GM in a sport.
yeah, it's he didn't understand. He didn't quite understand that you can't overpay everyone, and he overpaid people that didn't deserve it, and that's kind of what put them in this position.
I mean,
So.
like it the Nate Solder contract, like the list just goes on and
That
on
one's
and
a big
on.
one. And how about
Nate
there has to
Solder,
be
Evan
something said
Ingram,
about
like
the coaches that he hired. There has to be something said about the development that Eric Flowers, when he was here, he was just bad. Oh wow, I hit my mic. He was just bad. Then when he left, he's a pretty solid player now. I think he got paid like $9 million this offseason.
yeah,
Eric
he actually
Flowers
got
is
a
a good
contract.
left tackle. Is this a good tackle now?
Yeah, he's an average type of tackle. Like, oh my God.
I mean,
his
hiring
con-
Joe Judge was a bad.
I mean, Joe Judge, even before that, you know,
Pat Shermer, right? It was-
Shermer before that, Ben McAdoo, like, what
They've
are
gone
we
through it,
doing,
man.
man?
Ben McAdoo was my favorite coach of the Giants because he got just supremely outcoached in Lambeau wild card game. Just got beaten.
Let's not
to a
forget
pulp.
that
it was like
we
31
dropped
to
a lot of
13.
passes. Like Odell literally.
Yeah, but he
was
had
wearing a
no
Green Bay
stopping
jersey.
it. I think the final score was like 38-13. He had no way to stop Rodgers. Granted, nobody does.
Nobody
His like
does.
just.
I mean, asking Ben McAdoo to stop Aaron Rodgers.
Well,
was
the thing
crazy.
is
But
he should have
the
known. 'cause
Giants should have had 24 to 27 points in
Yeah.
that game.
Ben McAdoo did coach Aaron Rodgers. He was his quarterback coach. People were like, "That's gonna help him."
Yeah, sorry,
Help him.
no. He was his quarterback coach when? You know, we're
Uh,
talking like way back.
13, I think. Right
Yeah.
before he got that job.
Well, no, he was the Giants coach in 2016 because that was our one.
So a couple years before he got that
Couple
job.
years, yeah. But man, even
Still MVP
like that
Aaron
Giants team
Rodgers.
wasn't awful. It was just their last hurrah, you know, with
That boat
with
team,
Eli.
right? That was the boat team.
That was the boat team. But even then, like Dave Gettleman, we needed a running back. What did he do? He didn't want to pay for one, and he brought in fucking what was it? Rashad Williams, I want to say.
No, I think I remember who you're talking about. But I can't remember. the name.
God, like there's it's all a blur after Brandon Jacobs and Ahmad Bradshaw. It's just really Rashad Jennings. I'm sorry. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the name. That
From-
sounds
he was,
familiar.
He was on Oakland when they were Oakland, and
Yeah.
then he came. Yeah, Rashad Jennings. He was the
Yeah.
complete mids.
Yeah,
like,
they couldn't run
God,
the ball at
bro.
all. That was pre-Saquon, right? That was a couple years before
Right
Saquon.
before Saquon. That was when it was literally like, all right, we
And you
need a
have to
running
run the
back.
ball in Lambeau, and they were just incapable of doing it.
Nothing coming from Dave Gettleman. Just fucking wind through his ears.
Yeah. You
But-
say we talk a little college football, maybe?
Yeah, I was gonna say let's dabble.
Little
into what
laugh at
happened this
LSU.
weekend.
Lad
So-
the LSU fan. Let's laugh at him.
Yeah. Oof. Double R. Let's
Rough
talk about college
weekend.
football, bro, because that was rough for LSU fans. But they're so acclimated to success. I'm sure one rough game won't necessarily kill you.
I think the funnier part about all of that, obviously the block field goal is terrible.
Yeah.
If you go through their schedule, if they can't beat Florida State, they ain't beating many
I was gonna
teams at
say
all.
Florida State is not like
The
good.
I mean,
Florida State does not really have talent like that.
I'm gonna go through their schedule right now, but I'm not 1,000% sure there's 3 wins on their schedule.
Jeez.
If that's their non-conference game, so they only have 2 more of those. They're probably
Yeah.
cupcakes. If I had to guess, they're probably very easy games. But if they can't beat Florida State, there's not a team in the SEC West that they can beat. So I'm gonna look just to see.
There's a couple teams that really like stood out to me in terms of like they really should have beat up on their opponent a lot more. Being that they're playing lower tier schools.
Yeah, there was some
Notre Dame
close
losing
ones
doesn't
there.
hurt as bad now that Brian Kelly lost. And hey, you guys were in the game.
Hey,
It's not
Notre
like
Dame
you guys
played
got
very
blown
well.
out. You guys played a good game. Like they could have won that game at some point, and I wouldn't have been too surprised.
Yeah,
So
Marcus Freeman's definitely a good coach. And for Double R here, they're playing Southern this weekend. They're gonna beat Southern, obviously. They're playing New Mexico in a few weeks. Other than that, there's not a win on this schedule. Like they're not beating Florida, they're not beating Tennessee, and maybe they'll beat Mississippi State, they'll beat UAB. So they'll win 3 games at best. Like 4.
what I was looking at was the fact that Utah dropping a game to Florida like that.
Surprising, definitely
Inexcusable.
Pac-12 defense.
Truthfully.
Pac-12
Like inexcusable.
defense was bad. They were supposed to have.
They were supposed to be serious this year.
Yes, and they're
this
not.
was the year that Utah was on the map because nobody knows where Utah is in terms of a state. So
No.
you may as well make your college football team solid.
Yeah.
But no, can't even do that. Like what the hell are we doing out here?
No, their defense was supposed to be improved, and they were not. They're clearly not that good of a team. Florida's really not a good team, and they outplayed them really in a close game, but they outplayed them. Really, I think the big story is it's another 2-team race every year, and this year it's the same 2 teams as last year. Clemson does not look like they have a quarterback that's going to get them anywhere. Ohio State was I'll say mid at the best I could say right now. They didn't look like the other 2 teams look. Georgia and Alabama. Obviously, I was jumping
Syracuse
up and down.
and Louisville, that game was pretty mid as well. Neither team really stood out like that. And honestly, I thought Syracuse should have blown them out a little bit. Like 31-7, sure, it's a blowout, but I was expecting, 40 plus to, 7-14. So
our local the State College of New Jersey.
You want to talk dude.
Bring up that they
upset.
They upset Boston. Boston College was supposed to be a top 25 team. They were touchdown favorites, which I thought was a little low. I was very surprised Rutgers was in the game, let alone win the game. So I have a lot of credit to anybody who watches Rutgers. I know many people do, but
it was
pretty
rough
impressive.
at first. It was the first half was definitely
they weren't scoring.
You definitely did not think Rutgers was winning the game according to that first half, but do I think that they're going to have a good season,
They've got
from
easy
here
games
on
coming up, so they're going to have a few wins.
They could grab a couple, I think 3 wins, I'm going to say, from those
4.
easier...
I think they got really easy game. I know they have an easy game this week. I believe they played Temple, and Temple's terrible. They play Wagner this week, Temple next week. So they got 2 games in a row. They should kick ass. So.
Another.
Are we looking at 3-0 year for them?
Another thing I want to highlight: VTech dropping the ball to Old Dominion.
Old Dominion, yeah, that was rough.
Shameless.
This is the second time they've done that to Old Dominion. It's just embarrassing.
I don't know if you've seen on Twitter one kid that's in our Knicks group chat. His name is Julian, but he's a good friend of mine, and he actually is part of the Virginia Tech recruiting staff. He completely blacked out all his profile pictures on social media after that game. Just like everyone was calling him out in the chat on Twitter, all of that. Just he was down bad.
How do you recruit that? Like how do you
literally
explain that in recruiting?
Exactly. Like everyone was like, not only did you lose, but like this is on you.
This is making your job harder too. Like how are you gonna tell a kid we're a really good school, Division I? We lost to Old Dominion. It was pretty rough.
Yeah, you put up 17 points and lost to Old Dominion.
How about a little futures thing? We talked about the Heisman a lot, and I had CJ Stroud, and I stand by that, and I still believe he's gonna win it.
Okay.
A little update: Stetson Bennett was plus 48,000. Go look at the number now.
Yeah, what are we
Plus
sitting at?
2,500. We've got
Wow, steady big.
46,000 change or something like. He's ranked like 47th in the country in terms of odds because obviously Stetson. But I'll say this real quick. I don't want to talk too much about Georgia because I know it makes me sound like a fanboy, but I'm gonna fanboy for like a minute. That Stetson Bennett played the best football game a Georgia quarterback has probably ever played, and he did it against a pretty decent team in Atlanta, in a great stadium, great vibes. He just looked. I mean, he was actually perfect. He almost had a perfect QBR. I think he did. He just had a few incompletions, but
yeah,
a lot of credit.
What was that first drive? Wasn't it perfect?
He was the first. They scored 7 touchdowns on 7 drives to start the game, and I think they went to a punt. They punted.
But I think that first drive he didn't have an incompletion.
Like, no, he didn't, and they were
just drove down.
It was all scripted plays early, but then even when they got off script, they were amazing. He made a play. I don't know if you saw it. It was, I don't know how he did. He threw across his body to the other side of the field that they're avoiding players. I mean, that SEC championship, when that does happen, that will be. Not the winner will win the playoffs. The winner they're going to play in the national championship again. I mean, there's nobody even close to how good those two teams are. And that was week 1, and we know this by now. Like, this week, Alabama plays Texas. I don't even think Texas will be within 3 touchdowns.
No, probably
Georgia
not.
Plays Samford, so
Take
that's
the
a
spread
joke,
on that
so.
for sure.
Yeah. So,
I mean, what's really interesting, like you're saying, the steady B, the line being like that is because, I mean, one thing to look out for is you can invest in that and then cash out as his odds keep getting better and better. You don't even have to, ride the whole thing. You don't think he's going to win. Like,
I don't think
he doesn't. I don't
think he's going to win.
He won't win.
But if you go look at Georgia's schedule, they don't have another tough game till late October when they play Florida. So you ride, he's just going to build.
You put in a ticket for that plus 4,500. You ride that until the end of October. Say it goes down to plus 1,000.
Yeah.
Cash that out. I mean, you're sitting pretty, like that's a big come up right there. So I definitely like that. And the fact he's only plus 2,000 on FanDuel right now, but if you could find somewhere where he's plus 2,500, even maybe plus 3,000, definitely think that could be a good bet to cash out on later in the season. You want to talk about that Clemson game, not necessarily the game, but the festivities that were surrounding that game. Let's talk Clemson. So, in case anybody didn't see, there was a fight at the Clemson game.
It was
pretty big fight. A 15-year-old and a 22-year-old scrapping it up. And in case you missed it, we're here to show you it. So, without further ado, here's basically what happened.
Here we go. Oh, he hit his ass. He dropped his ass. Go, let's go. Oh, yeah. Calm the fuck down.
Just incredible. College football really is back. It really is back. Not only do you get shagged by a 15-year-old as a college student, but then you have to go back, to your fraternity, and they're just like, dude, what's with the scratches on your face? And
I want to say,
I got shagged by a 15-year-old.
I have a friend who is in fraternities, who is in a fraternity, frat, whatever the hell you want to call them. I think they're stupid anyway. But my friend's in one. That kid is he let me know that kid is 1,000% getting kicked out of any frat he's in. You
just got shagged by a 15-year-old. You had the high ground.
Yeah, you embarrassed your frat. You embarrassed your friends. And I wanted to say something around. There's an old guy back there. I don't know who he is. If you're standing there watching a 15-year-old fight, let's reevaluate the life, buddy.
Yep.
I don't know how you could just let it happen. I get it. You don't want to get hit. I've been around fights before. I wanted to stop it. My friends would fight all the time. I don't want to. That sounds really bad that they would fight, but they did.
We know your friends are gangbanging, Andy.
Yeah,
okay.
You don't want to get into it because you don't want to get hit, but you can't let a 15-year-old fight. Granted,
it's not like that kid was necessarily menacing. I mean,
the 15-year-old won the fight, but you had a perfect opportunity to stop him. He's stopping there. He's ready to go. You could have come up and said, hey, let's cool down. Instead, this old guy with white hairs looking at them fight, and it was just
facts. You got the high ground, and you got hit with an uppercut.
He had him down and was just
pounding
him. Like, come on.
That's crazy. having high ground and getting hit with an uppercut is just like the awareness is just on zero.
It's embarrassing,
Like,
honestly.
yeah,
for that
that's
kid.
disgusting. Like
He might
-5
leave
awareness
Clemson.
off
He
your-
might have
off
to
your
leave Clemson.
It's like seriously, he's not allowed. He's definitely not going to be allowed back at a football game.
No,
He's
for
probably
years.
suspended or
And
something.
honestly, I think it'll be traumatizing if he walked in a football game right now.
Seriously. He might have some PTSD. He walks into a middle school, he's gonna have PTSD. Everybody's
God.
just looking around like
He's
you
gonna be
know-
looking. He's gonna be giving 15-year-olds looks for the rest of his life.
seriously. That shit was insane. So much for the Notre Dame upset.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I didn't think it'd be a close game. I was pretty impressed with Notre Dame. I had heard from pretty much every expert you could talk to
that it was
hear
gonna be a
about
blowout.
that Notre Dame was just not that good of a team. They looked perfectly fine to me. They didn't look great, but they looked pretty good. Ohio State didn't look great either. CJ Stroud really didn't have that great of a game in terms of stats, but both of those teams will get a chance to regroup, I think, with easy opponents this week. Everybody in the top 25 has an easy opponent.
Honestly,
except
now
number
after
one,
that,
so.
Yeah, I'm looking at them maybe to win a couple more games that I didn't think they could have.
Yeah,
Later on in the season, I wouldn't be as shy picking them as going into some of these games after their performance. So
as long
I
as
don't mind Notre Dame, definitely not.
Yeah, as long as they stay healthy, they look like a team that could play in the New Year's Six Bowl again. They're not a college football playoff team. They
Maybe
usually when you lose one, usually when you lose your first game, you kind of have to be perfect the rest of the way, and that's just not realistic. So
maybe a little resurgency because of the Manti Te'o documentary. You never know. You never know.
That could be it.
That could be it.
Seems to be bringing people back from the dead a lot, Manti. So
it does, and he, Manti. He's always down for
we
a
know
little
him, we
surprise.
love him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all right, let's talk some MLB bets before we get out of here because I got a couple money makers. MLB slate today was absolute shit. Truthfully,
It is
like,
shit.
It was
It's
so
gonna be
gross.
shit for a few weeks now.
Yeah, it's a tough couple weeks of baseball, but there's still money to be made nonetheless. I mean, it says if only Notre Dame could have played Austin, PA, or Sam Houston State. Sorry. Yeah. I mean,
Well, yeah, everybody gets
that would
their.
be nice.
You're gonna get your easy games, right? I think everybody gets easy. I mean, actually, they might not. Notre Dame might have to play a tougher schedule because they're an independent. They don't get a conference championship, so that is true. They do have to play tougher teams, so that's another reason why I don't believe they're really college football team. They have to beat so many good teams now after losing their first game.
Yeah,
I don't think they're beating USC either. We didn't talk about USC real quick before we get to baseball. USC in front of nobody. There was because apparently California schools don't go in until like later September. Weird. So UCLA and USC were playing in front of nobody. USC against a bad Rice team. I get it, they're a bad team. They looked almost perfect. Like Caleb Williams looked perfect. Lincoln Riley had his team ready to go. Yep. I don't know who they play next. I'd be afraid of USC. I said they're gonna be a good team.
Like the other schools.
But that's the way Notre Dame runs, and that's on
tough.
them. But
yeah, Fighting Irish.
That was the way I say.
Yeah, GG's to them. But all right, MLB for tonight. I am liking. Just gonna rattle these off real quick. I like tonight, not many, but I do like the Seattle Mariners going up against the Chicago White Sox. They got Logan Gilbert on the mound going up against Johnny Cueto. Cueto's having a decent season, but in terms of offensive production, I just don't think the White Sox are going to be able to get it done, especially against a guy like Gilbert coming in, with a 3.3 ERA. I think that doesn't tell the whole tale. He's 11-5, so they always find a way to win games when he's on the mound. Being at home, sitting at -148, I'm going to rock with their money line for tonight.
I like that. I'm really upset that the White Sox weren't able to really figure it out this year. So I think, did La Russa go on leave? I think he did. I don't think he's their manager right now.
Yeah, no, that's just an excuse. They're going to come to like some type of term to get him the hell out of there.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
I only have one, so I don't know if you want to give another one before I give one.
Okay, yeah, sure. I got, another one that I'm looking at. Is the Arizona Diamondbacks going up against the San Diego Padres tonight. They got Joe Musgrove on the mound, so I'm kind of surprised that the money line for this only comes in at -165. I'm going to rock with the Padres, coming off of a tough series against the Dodgers where they really kind of got their ass handed to them.
Yeah, I'd be afraid if I'm the Padres right now. If I'm the Phillies or the Padres, I'm scared right now. I don't want to be that close to missing the playoffs at this point with how the Brewers could just, if you tie with the Brewers, they could just put up Corbin Burns and you're done. So
yeah,
they're in trouble, those two teams. I'd be afraid.
No, seriously. And I mean, going up against, tonight they got Joe Musgrove on the mound, but really their offense hasn't been producing in the way that
No.
they really like. And I understand on the other side of the ball, the Diamondbacks are throwing their
And
ace.
and Diamondbacks are only 8 back now with a whole month to go here.
They could make
I know it
something
sounds
happen.
silly, but they brought up their top prospect. He's hitting now, and I would not be.
Yeah,
They're not going to make it, but they're
kind of
going to
weird.
get close.
Like getting off of David Peralta and then all of a sudden, you're competing now. It's
Well,
kind of sucked, but
I don't know what happened, but they just beat the crap out of Philly this week, and
yeah.
look what happens. You're
Yep.
only
I
8
think,
back.
unfortunately, I think this is where it comes to an end. So
You do?
I'm riding with them. Not in terms of series. I think they could maybe salvage a series against the Padres, but in terms of tonight,
Yeah,
Musgrove on the mound at home.
Soto's
it
been
just-
bad.
He hasn't been
Have
good
you heard
at
about
all.
it? He has been the same player he was there. That sucks. I really thought he's gonna be in a pennant race. I thought, hey, this is gonna flip the switch, but hey,
Yeah, playing meaningful baseball in September is a win for the Phillies. Hey, they just got Schwarber back. They got Bryce now.
did you see my
You know,
tweet the other day?
That's
When
not,
the clock at 12:02 a.m., I put in quotes, I put meaningful September baseball has arrived for the Mets, because that used to be their thing. Jeff Wilpon always used to be like, we want to be playing meaningful September baseball, and I was like, the fuck does that mean? I want to get to October. I don't give a fuck about September.
yeah.
So here we go.
Hey, here we are.
And they sucked ever since September started. So
Jeez, yeah, it has been a couple rough days,
yeah,
rough week for New York teams.
Yeah.
But I got one more, and unfortunately, this one is going to be going against. This isn't good for my Yanks in terms of if this bet pans out, and that's because I have the Rays money line tonight going up against the Red Sox. Dylan Rasmussen on the mound up against Rich Hill. In Tampa, Tampa is so good in Tampa. It's absurd. Like, they are just such a good home field team that a team like the Red Sox is not going to keep up. The Red Sox are piss poor. I don't care who they're throwing on the mound. They stink. So riding with the Rays tonight, money line at -162. That's really, that's really all I like for tonight. There's just not much. A lot of these money lines are lopsided. Anything else that I really was interested in was like a -220 on the money line. So I just didn't feel that was really worth.
Yeah, were you watching Sunday?
Sunday, the Mets game?
No, Yankee game.
Oh, the
Rays,
Yankees?
Yankees?
Yes.
Was that a strike?
No.
There you go.
It wasn't.
I
No.
thought they were gonna lose that game. And I
Absolutely
know I was
not.
thinking
they got
about
bailed
you. I
out.
was like,
The ump had. I mean, I tweeted right afterwards. Ump had Yankees money line. Like,
oh, that's right. You did tweet that.
that was
I was a little mad at that too, because I was kind of hoping the Rays beat you guys. You would have been
I mean,
swept,
the
right?
difference. Yeah, that would have been a sweep. The difference between being 3 games up and 5 games up is just.
And who knows if you win tomorrow? You win yesterday. If you get swept by the Rays, the mood would have been very different.
Really bad.
Judge's
Aaron Boone
home
might have
run
lost his
yesterday,
job.
though.
But Aaron Judge, I mean, yeah, plus 260 to hit a home run tonight. I don't mind it necessarily. You know, I mean, it's an every night occurrence at this point.
Yeah.
So
I'm just gonna say mine real quick. I'm gonna go Mets. I'm just gonna go -1.5, but you could boost that to like 2.5, because it is I believe they're pushing Walker back because their game yesterday got rained out. So I'm gonna just look really quick at their pitcher tonight. But the Pirates are terrible, and the Mets, granted they played badly against Washington, they're not gonna play that badly again. I don't think
the Pirates are even worse than Washington in my opinion.
And I don't. There's one guy in the Pittsburgh lineup you got to worry about. He's their leadoff hitter. So I'm not really worried about. Yeah, I'm really not worried about the Pirates much. Just the Mets getting out of their own way and understanding that the lead's down to 1 now. I mean, you got to win every single day. You gave yourself no breathing room, and at this moment, I can't guarantee we're winning this division anymore. And it makes me sad that we probably are going to be playing in the wild card series right now, because who knows who we'll be playing, because we'll probably be the top wild card team. But it is upsetting that this lead that was once astronomically high is almost the lowest it could get.
So weird. Just a sidebar, going up against Mitch Keller tonight.
Yeah.
And the guy, he pitched 6 innings of 10 strikeout baseball in his last start against the Brewers.
That makes me feel better. Yeah. Thanks for that.
That's just crazy. Like, a Pirates pitcher doing that at all is just insane to me. But hey, I like the Mets tonight, and you're not starting Taiwan Walker, is what I'm hearing?
No, they are. 10-win
okay.
Taiwan Walker. So, hey,
I was going to say, I like Taiwan, and honestly, I was even
the
thinking
alternative was Jacob deGrom, so because he pitches game 1 tomorrow now. So.
Gotcha. I was even thinking about that same Jake bet that I always like, Mets to score first and win the game.
I think
So,
you just do that every game this series, honestly.
hey, I mean, at this
I
point,
hope.
why
I
not?
mean,
You know,
they
I
did
would
it.
hope as well.
They didn't do it Friday, right? Did we? They didn't score first. I don't know. I don't remember.
Was that a Jake start?
No.
No,
Friday
okay.
was
I only stick with it for
when
anytime
it's
Jake or
Jake.
Max.
Do it
honestly.
tomorrow. Well, Max scared me the other day. I don't know if you. I just got a tweet because I wasn't watching. I got a tweet that said Max Scherzer has left the game after 5 innings. My heart sank to
Yeah.
the floor. But we're good.
That score first and win tonight is at -114. So if you like that instead of a saturated money line or instead of the spread, you know, either or.
I don't hate that.
I don't
that's
hate
nice.
it at all. But yeah, I think that's going to
I
wrap us
think
for
a lot
today.
of a lot of good football talk, and
A lot of good
hope you
football
guys are
talk.
ready for Thursday afternoon. Right?
Yep. Yeah, we are going to be live Thursday. We're going to be going a little bit of an afternoon episode,
Yeah.
thinking maybe 1, 2 o'clock around then.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to be coming live Thursday, talking a ton of football.
Oh yeah.
We're locked in.
And then let's tell them about Sunday morning.
We'll tell them about Sunday morning, Thursday night. How about that?
Oh, okay.
That's filled. So just know we got some pregame stuff coming.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Sunday
They're gonna have a lot of fun.
Going to be a lot of fun. Thank you guys for tuning in. Double R. Thank you guys for tapping in with us, dropping all the comments. We appreciate all the support. And yeah, this has been Moneyline Madness episode 70. Hope you guys have a good rainy day, and we will catch you guys on Thursday.
Let's go Mets.